Greetings, Guardians! It is Thursday, and we are kicking off our Destiny for Noobs. So, guys, basically in this episode, we're going to be breaking down the Hunter class. We're going to talk about subclass, what you should level up first, why you should do it, and basically just breaking it all down for you. This was actually suggested by one of my old friends, Nicholas, or Applejack. Some of you know him from my videos. It was what we were going to do anyway. Just Apple and I basically had the same idea. Next week, guys, we're probably going to do the Warlock, and the week after that, we're probably going to do the Titans. So, yeah, stay tuned. Now, the reason why we're doing this, the main reason is because at the moment, with raids, for example, there are a lot of people that are coming into raids that are underprepared. And not just raids, but PvP and Prisoner of Elders and stuff like that. What are you doing, Broken Homes? Some guy who wants to be in the video. No, it's on open. But anyway, so basically, yeah. So what we're doing is going to go through it, break it all down, explain it all, and answer any questions that people may have. So let's just get into it. Before Broken, apparently some random guy keeps wanting to photobomb me. So, okay, so first things first, we're going to talk about, you got Night Stalker, you've got the Gunslinger, and you got Blade Dancer. Okay, so Blade Dancer is the arc-based class. This is obviously allows you to turn invisible. You use Arc Blade, also use Arc Grenades, and it's really, really effective for these starting up first-time hunters. It was pretty much the PvP king of all for the hunters. Followed closely by Golden Gun, but since Night Stalker's come out, a lot of people have been using that. Golden Gun and Arc are starting to come back, but obviously the Void, Night Stalker, definitely you want that for a raid. So for PvP, I would suggest probably one of these two. Reason being is because, well, Gunslinger is great for long distances, while Arc Blade is excellent for close-ups. So we'll go through, we'll talk about Gunslinger, then we'll do Arc Blade, and then we'll talk about Night Stalker. So with your Gunslingers, you've got incendiary grenades. They're just standard grenades that catch enemies on fire, causing additional damage over time, a bit like the Thorn DOT. Swarm grenades, which is what I use, a grenade which detonates on impact, releasing multiple drones that seek nearby enemies. Now, keep in mind with these guys, this only works if they run into it or if they're right near it when it goes off. The little grenades will stay there like a mesh net sort of thing, and when they run or go close to it, those drones will then seek them and shoot them and kill them. However, it only lasts like 5 seconds, and then the drones will explode anyway. So it will cause any damage to anybody that is right next to them anyway. And trip mines, which is what a lot of people use in PvP. So an explosive grenade that sticks to surfaces and detonates when enemies pass through its laser trigger. Basically it has like a light that shines down, which kind of gives away the whole trip mine thing, but anyway. And when someone runs through it, that explodes, and that will kill you if you're right near it when it goes off. They're great for putting on like walls, on surfaces around corners and stuff like that, for when people are running through the Crucible and whatnot. Not really used much in PvE or Prisoner of Elders, mostly used for PvP, Crucible, Iron Banner, Trials, etc, etc. Now for your jumping, you get your standard double jump. Jump a second time after leaving the ground, which is definitely handy. That then upgrades to better control. Upgrade double jump for a better directional control while in the air. Triple jump upgrades double jump with a third jump. And the one I use is high jump. Upgrades double jump for even greater height. The reason I use that is because it does give you a lot of height. And if I do need the triple jump, I do have the Bones of Ao. I will show you them right there. that will actually give you an additional jump. So if I do need triple jump with the higher jump, I can use those. For example, when we're doing the puzzle on the raids and stuff like that. Apart from that, guys, next thing along is Golden Gun. Summon a flaming pistol which incinerates enemies with a solar light. Basically, it's like a solar bullet, is the best way I can describe it. It is a one-shot kill. Doesn't matter if you shoot them in the leg, chest, head, whatever. It's a one-shot kill. Really effective in Crucible. And you can also use... I've done it again, wrong button. You can also use this helmet here, Symbiote, which will actually give you an additional shot. Now, Golden Gun itself only has 3 shots. Unless you're using the helmet, that will give you a 4th. However, do keep in mind, it just gives you an additional shot. It doesn't make the duration any longer. If you don't fire the gun within that 10, 20 seconds, whatever it may be, time span, it will just run out. So if you've got it, make sure there are enemies close. The way I normally will use it is I will actually wait for someone to come up on my radar, trigger it if I've got it, and then run up and then shoot them with it. It's because that animation does take 1 or 2 seconds, it can be enough time for someone to come in and Titan smash you. So I do normally trigger it when I'm around the corner and then run around and shoot them with it. Deadeye significantly increase the accurate and damage of a Golden Gun. You don't really need that, guys, to be honest, when you're doing PvP, because it's a one-shot kill anyway. So yeah. Combustion, killing an enemy with Golden Gun causes them to explode. That is just fun. However, the bottom one here, Gunfight, reduces the cooldown of your Golden Gun, allowing it to be used more often. That is probably the one that you'll want to put for Golden Gun. The reason being is because it does allow it to in-charge or charge at a faster rate, and allowing you to go through and to use it more regularly, especially in PvP and PvE. Also keep in mind, picking up orbs will also allow you to go through and to do that, but that'll be something else we'll cover on a different video. Throwing knife. Throwing a knife from a distance. Precision kills with throwing knife reduce Golden Gun's cooldown. Throwing knife catches enemy on fire, dealing additional damage over time. And precision kills with throwing knife immediately reset its cooldown. The reason why I've got Incendiary Blade on is because, well, when you're running in PvP, especially, that when you throw the grenade or the knife, chances are it's going to hit him in the chest, or if you're lucky, maybe in the head. It's not going to kill him instantly. The damage over T or DOT will allow you to go through and to sort of allow you to possibly finish him off with that as well. That is why I use that per se. Next thing along path is Path Forgotten. Training focus on toughness and speed. Training focus on battle recovery and speed. Training focus on battle recovery and toughness. The reason why I've got that, guys, is that will actually decrease your armor and increase your agility. And that will just decrease your recovery and increase your agility. To be honest, agility isn't really important. Okay, so that's probably something I should have actually done in the first video. Armor, recovery, and agility. Armor is what it is that allows you to take hits without dying. So the more armor you've got, the more hits you can take, the longer you'll be alive. Recovery is how fast you actually recharge your health. So if you're critical, for example, and you hide around a corner, it might be 5 seconds to recover, or it could be 15 seconds, depending on what your recovery is. And your agility is the amount of height and stuff that you can get from your jumps. Now, for example, which is why this whole series has been started, we were doing a raid a couple of weeks ago. There was a guy who was standing on plate 1. Okay, so his idea, his whole situation, or his whole plan was all he had to do was to jump up and stand on that first plate. He kept dying and we couldn't figure out why, because he should have been able to take some hits. Well, turns out the fact that he had his agility all the way up and his recovery and armor all the way down. So while he could jump really, really high and probably touch the roof, he couldn't actually take it he couldn't take any hits from the enemies. And when he did take the hits, it took his character a little bit longer than it should have to recover the health, causing him to constantly die. Once he went through and we informed him of this and explained it all to him, he changed his agility to down and put his recovery and armor up, and that basically allowed him to go through and to survive more hits and actually be able to do that level without dying. So that's how much of a difference it can make, guys. It is a really, really crucial thing. Scavenger, picking up ammo reduces cooldown of your grenades and throwing knife. Golden Gun over penetrates and causes damage to multiple targets. And precision kills increase weapon stability, stacks up to 3 times. Gunslinger's Trance is pretty good. However, I like Keyhole just because of the fact that you got a chance of killing more than one guy if they're standing behind or next to or whatever it may be, and you're shooting them. You can kill more than one with one bullet. That is why I use that. Apart from that, the other perks are pretty decent. Gunslinger's Trance is really good, and Scavenger, it's okay. Way of the Drifter, training focus on all troops. Basically, guys, that will improve your recovery and agility but decrease your armor. Like I've said before, not something I want. I don't want real high agility. Way of the Fearless, training focus on all toughness at all costs. That will actually increase your armor and recovery but decrease your agility, which is what I want. Or Way of the Nomad, training focus on maximum battle recovery. That will allow your recovery to go through the roof and your agility to go up a little bit. However, it will decrease your armor, which is not something I want either. So that's why I've got Way of the Fearless on. Chain of Woe, precision kills increase weapon reload speed, stacks up to 3 times. It's going to improve the recovery a little bit, yes, but let's see what the other ones are. Increase the range of Golden Gun, which is over the horizon. Definitely something that's worthwhile. That's why I've got it on. And Gambler's Dagger, gaining an additional throwing knife. They're all really good perks. I've just got that on just because I wanted the range on the Golden Gun. I don't like getting up close and personal with Golden Gun. I like to get back and stand back for a little bit and use it to obviously pop people with that from that distance. That is why I've got that on. And apart from that, guys, that is what the Gunslinger subclass is. Now, like I said, that is Solar. Okay, this is the one that people will normally start off on, and I believe to get to the Arc, you do need to be level 15, which obviously I have. So let's have a look at it. Flux Grenade, an explosive grenade which deals additional damage when attached to enemies. Not bad. A grenade which splits on impact, creating multiple projectiles which seek enemies. That is a lot like the original one from the Gunslinger. It's a lot like the Swarm Grenade. Definitely they're not bad either, that's for sure. And Arc Grenade, the grenade that chain bolts of lightning to nearby enemies. It's a lot like the Trip Mine. It'll stick onto a wall and lightning will shoot out from it. You'll probably see it if you run around PvP. I don't mind it. I hate being on the other end of it. But to be honest, I like Flux Grenades, and it's more of a personal choice, to be honest. Once you do it, you got jumps, you got double jump, higher jump, better control, and blink. A lot of people do use blink because they like to blink shotgun, what they call blink shotgun, which is you blink behind someone and then shotgun them. I'm not really comfortable with blink. I find it a little hard to use. So I tend to go with better control because while upgrade to double jump for better directional control while in the air, I like to be able to just control myself a little bit better. And then high jump obviously indicates the double jump even for greater height. Arc Blade, charge your Arc Blade with Arc Light and consume your foes with lightning. Showstopper, press right trigger during arc blade to damage nearby enemies. Razor's Edge, press right trigger during arc blade to unleash a devastating wave of energy that travels along the ground. That's a lot like you'll see with the enemies, the Cylons. They send that shockwave out. They do actually do that as well. I'll show you a photo. I'll cut to a video now for you. Now, apart from that, also you've got Vanish, which press right thing to disappear from sight. The reason why I've got that on is because if you're doing raids, Vault of Glass, Prisoner of Elders, even Crucible, it is very, very handy for you to be able to disappear and to res, attack, whatever it may be. Now, do keep in mind that once you do go through and attack somebody, that will turn off. You will be visible again. But it is very, very handy to be able to turn invisible, run up, res somebody, and run off while you're still invisible. Especially when you're doing a raid or Prisoner of Elders. Blink Strike. More powerful melee that extended range. Hitting an enemy from behind with Blink causes significant more damage. Hitting an enemy with Blink Strike gains brief invisibility. And reduce the cooldown of your Blink Strike. The reason I've got Escape Artist on is because if you actually go up and hit somebody with Blink, you'll turn invisible and then allow you to get away. Very handy also for doing raids if your Arc Blade isn't fully charged. You can also use that and allow you to sort of get away from the enemies as well. Path Unforgotten, obviously training focus on toughness and speed. Path Forbidden, training focus on battle recovery and speed. That will raise your recovery but drop your armor, which is obviously not something I want. And training focus on battle recovery and toughness. That will actually... Why haven't I got that on? Don't know. Probably should have that on, shouldn't I? Yeah, anyway. Okay, and training focus, battery recovery and toughness. Which is obviously what I want, and I didn't have on for some reason, I don't know. But yeah, that will obviously decrease your agility and increase your armor and your recovery. Why don't I have that on? I've got no idea. Fleet-footed. Okay, so increase the maximum sprint distance and extends slide distance. Probably more useful for PvP in case you want to slide and shotgun somebody. Weapons ready immediately, quick draw. And increase the duration of invisibility effects. If you're going to run around on an Arc Blade, you want it to last as long as possible. You want Shadowjack on. Way of the Drifter, training focus on all troops. That will decrease armor but increase recovery and agility. Way of the Fearless, training focus on toughness at all costs. And Way of the Nomad, training focus on maximum battle recovery. That will decrease your armor but increase your recovery and agility. Encore. Killing an enemy with Arc Blade extends Arc Blade duration and increases its damage for a short time, which is obviously what you want. Gain invisibility after crouching in a place for a short time. This one was actually used a lot when we went through and did Crota, because you would actually crouch while you're at the lamps and wait for your light to go down or your darkness to go down and then run off. So it was a great time to go through and obviously use that. And kills Arc Blade and Blink Strike immediately regen health, which is obviously great if you're doing Crota on hard or for example Taken King on hard, because obviously there's no revives and stuff like that. Apart from that, guys, the very last subclass that we have is Night Stalker. So grenades that attach to enemy surface and emits a torrent of dying... Start again. A grenade that attaches to any surface and emits a torrent of damaging void light. Grenade that creates a horizontal wall of burning void light. It's a bit like a flame wall. And a vortex grenade. A grenade that creates a vortex constantly damaging enemies trapped inside. Basically, when that goes off, it will create like a void, I suppose, yeah, it's a better way to put it. And that will actually damage any enemies near it or that are on it. And it'll do a lot more DOT, damage over time. Double jump, jump a second time after leaving the ground. Upgrade double jump even for a greater height. Better control, upgrade double jump for better directional control while in the air. And triple jump, upgrade double jump with a third jump. Now, there is something about this as well, guys. I've done it again. If you use Bones of Ao, you will actually get 4 jumps because it adds an additional jump. Now, it does say upgrade double jump with an additional jump, but it also does it for the third jump as well. So you will actually get 4 jumps. Shadow Shot. Tether foes with the Void Anchor, slowly weakening them, suppressing them for you and your allies.
I'm picking up the dying light of a ghost. Inside.
Bloodbound, tethering enemies explode when killed. Damage to a tether enemies is shattered to all. What? Tethered enemies explode when killed. Damage to a tethered enemies is shared to all. Yeah, that's right. And Void Anchor. This is increased range, lasts significantly longer, and you can tether more targets. Obviously something you want. 5 Shadow Shot up to 3 times. Void Anchors have the reduced range. Basically, guys, that is the one where you go through in your Shadow Shot and you can pull out 3 arrows. I have seen people use that in the Taken King when they go through, just because of the fact that they can do it to the ogres. But obviously you're going to have to hit your mark pretty much on the ground because it does reduce its range. Smoke. Throw smoke grenades to disorient those trapped in its cloud. Adds toxin damage to enemies within the smoke. You and your allies near smoke explode, vanish from sight, and allow smoke to stick to surface, detonating when enemies are near. The reason I use vanish and smoke is because when you're doing a raid, it is handy sometimes to be able to disappear like you do with Arcblade. For example, if you're standing up on the platforms for the Taken King, for Oryx, you want to be able to disappear so that enemies can't always shoot you. Do keep in mind though, guys, vanishing doesn't work on every single enemy. It does only affect certain enemies. Bath Forgotten, training focus on toughness and speed. Training focus on battle recovery and speed. And training focuses on battle recovery and toughness. The reason I don't have these 2 on, guys, is because it does reduce your recovery and your armor, which is not what I want. I want agility as low as I can and those as high as I can. Courage of the Pack. Tethering targets greatly increases recovery and armor for you and your nearby allies. Stacks up to 3 times. Killing tethered targets creates orbs of light for you and your allies. And Lockdown. Grenade and smoke lasts as long, so effects twice lost as long, allowing stronger tertiary control. So guys, the reason I've got actually Light of the Pack on is because of the fact that I want those orbs for everybody, especially when we're doing raids. We want to be able to generate as many orbs as possible, which is why we use Light of the Pack. Way of the Drifter. Training focus on all the troops. Training focuses on toughness at all costs. And training focuses on maximum battle recovery. So that would obviously reduce the armor, which is not what I want. That would obviously reduce the armor, which is not what I want. That obviously allows me to have higher armor and recovery. And Keen Scout. Sprint and sneak faster. Gain enhanced tracker and abilities to mark the targets you damage. Keen Scout will also highlight any chests or anything that are in your immediate proximity. So it is really handy for when you want to go through and find chests, i.e. if you're trying to do, for example, the Touch of Malice quest. Predator, decrease Shadow Shot cooldown. Void Anchor fires up to Shadow Shot, becomes traps that stick to surfaces and wait for prey. And Shadow Step. Press BB to evade. That will allow you to disappear and reappear slightly behind yourself or whatever it may be. It's not bad, but to be honest, I want to decrease the Shadow Shot cooldown just because of the fact that I want it as soon as I can. Now, like I say, guys, from Night Stalker, you do have to be level 25. I think Gunslinger was straight up, and I think Arcblade is level 15 from memory. I will double check that before I publish this video. The reason why I suggest... Okay, so if you're going to do a raid, guys, the first thing I would suggest, obviously, if you're going to do a raid or Prisoner of Elders, you'll want that Night Stalker class. Now, I know obviously you're going to have to be level 25 to go through and to get that. But obviously you'll want to be that level before you want to try and tackle Oryx or Prisoner of Elders anyway. Now, I do know, for example, that if you go through and use the Spark of Light, I actually have one in my vault right here. I will show you. And I think it's over here somewhere. Where is it? There it is there. So, Spark of Light. This will immediately max your character to level 25. Guys, for your first character, I would not recommend using that. Just because of the fact is that you want to go through and do the storyline anyway. I know there's not much of a storyline, but you will want to anyway because it does give you some backstory. Also, using that Spark of Light will allow you to not upgrade your character. While you go through and you do those story quest lines and stuff like that, you will get experience and it will allow you to go through and to upgrade your subclasses. If you use the Spark, you will jump up to level 25 immediately, but you will not get the experience to level these up. So while you will be level 25, yes, however, you won't be anything on any of these. That is where it comes into a problem. Because if you want to do the raid, you're going to be level 25, great, but unfortunately your classes are going to be as weak as piss. So if you had a choice, what would I do? Okay, so first things first, guys, Night Stalker. I would use that for the Taken King. I would use that for Prisoner of Elders. Maybe for Crucible if you hit level 25 and you've maxed out the others. The Gunslinger subclass, I would use that for predominantly Prisoner of Elders, or actually more for Crucible, and maybe Prisoner of Elders. Depending on what level you are at the moment, if you're at level 25 and doing Prison, you probably already should be on Night Stalker though, however that's said. But for PvP, I would definitely say Gunslinger class. And for Arcblade, I would say Arcblade for PvP as well, so Crucible, so Iron Banner, Trials, etc, etc. Also, if you were doing Vault of Glass or anything like those lower raids, Crota or anything like that, I would also suggest doing your Blade Dancer there. The reason being, especially for Crota, that'll allow you to go invisible. That'll be the big help for you. It's definitely something that you'll want. Apart from that, guys, the rest of the stuff we'll be covering in other videos. This video has already gone on for 26 minutes already. It's long, way longer than I wanted it. But guys, that is basically your subclass. That is your Hunters All Explained. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit us up in the comment section below. If you like this video, if it's been helpful, please click like. And guys, remember, obviously, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. Next week, we're going to talk about Warlocks. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about Titans. So guys, stay tuned and I'll see you on Destiny for Noobs. Have a great night and enjoy.